with everything. But first, I'm gonna do a quick summary, and then we're gonna dive into the review. Will ended up telling Electra everything, and she wasn't happy about it. She ended up telling him not to touch her. Luna was waiting on Will to get home. Bill was trying to Bill over here. I said, Bill, this ain't the time for you to try to get your Katie back. I said, between him and Ridge over here talking about his Logan. He over here talking about his Katie. I said, y'all both trifling, so it don't really matter. But yeah. He over here trying to get her back. She talking about something. Now it's not the time. I was like, at this point, if you keep it, I understand. Like, I wouldn't want you back either. You done had her sister, and you over here, you was trying to get her sister back. Her sister said no. Then you tried to get her back, and Carter snitched on you. So, of course, I understand. But I was like, at this point, Bill, you need to find somebody else. Go over there with Taylor or something. Somebody at this point, because you done tried too many times now. It's over with. It's over with. But yeah, he over here trying to get her back. She told him now it's not the time. They need to be focused on their son. They still trying to keep the fact that Luna's alive a secret, but Deacon knows. So it's only a matter of time for everybody to know. And I was just saying at this point, Stephanie need to come back to make her pay. Because they over here turning out because she pregnant. They over here turning a blind eye to everything she did. She over here sitting down. I said, how many times she gonna say she gonna lay down and get some rest or whatever, then she come back downstairs? Y'all can't even talk in your own house because she over here monitoring you. Talking about she waiting on Will to get back. Girl, if you don't sit down somewhere, I said, she really think like they gonna get married. I want to see if they actually do or not. But aside from that, what else happened? Deacon ends up finding out that Lee was the reason behind Luna making it. She hasn't told him everything yet. She hasn't told him about Luna, the fact that she slept with Will, the fact that, she's pregnant right now. And Deke's still trying to make sure that Remy keeps his distance from Luna. Now, before we dive into the review, I seen something. Was it this morning or last night? I don't know if it was this morning or last night, but it was about Luna. People were saying how we had so much to say about how Thomas grabbed Brooke, but nobody, let me know if y'all seen it too. We had so much to say about how Thomas grabbed Brooke or whatever, but nobody mentioned how Bill grabbed Luna and she pregnant. I said, grabbing her is the least, grabbing her is the least of what she deserved. What the world? Because we all thought, first of all, he said he was taking her to the cops, so we assuming he grabbed her like that so that he can make sure she don't leave or whatever. And they was asking what the difference was. Well, one is a murder and one ain't it? I don't know Brooke history. I don't know if she murdered people according to everybody else. Everybody on the show don't murder somebody or shot somebody at least. Look, I don't know, y'all. I really don't know, but yeah, they was like, why we didn't bring up the fact that Bill grabbed Luna, she pregnant, he aggressively grabbed her and took her up out of Lee's apartment or whatever. That's the least of what she deserved. What the world? He's supposed to be grabbed her and took her to the doggone police station. That's what he's supposed to be did. Ain't nobody encouraging nobody. Well, I can't say nobody because some people do be encouraging violence and all this other stuff. But ain't nobody. We not trying to encourage him to do nothing to her. I mean, the other day I did say how, Katie needs to go somewhere so he can handle her. But aside from that, but yeah, I was shocked to see that post. I know I had already been seeing people who actually thinks that Luna and Will should be together. They was making excuses for Luna, saying that she didn't do nothing wrong, and people was questioning, if the roles were reversed, if Will had did that to a woman or whatever, would they still be saying the same thing? Now that, yeah. But other than that, I wasn't expecting nobody to bring up the fact that Bill grabbed her or whatever. He's supposed to be grabbing her and taking her to the doggone police station, but instead he took her back where it all started, to his house. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that. But okay, let's dive into the review. So Will was telling Electra that Luna is alive or whatever. She was in shock or whatever. She was appalled. She was like, how can that be? She ain't believe it at first. So he ended up telling what happened, the fact that Lee helped and everything. So he was just trying to explain that he was taking advantage of her, but he take full responsibility. She didn't want him to touch her. He was like, but there's more. So he ended up telling her that she's pregnant, that a test fell out her pocket or whatever, and she's pregnant. And I said, well, she ain't gonna never want you back now. Because she had already mentioned, because yesterday's episode, she had mentioned how he slept with another woman before he slept with her. And that night supposed to be special or whatever. I mean, I'm with her on that. On that much, I'm with her. And you really wouldn't know how you would react to this unless you was in the situation. But yeah, so in today's episode, she was like, okay, you telling me that you slept with Luna the night before, they special night? And I was like, she ain't hear nothing. She didn't hear. He even said now. So I'm thinking that y'all was right, that they finna get ready to write it in there that Will actually does remember Luna. Cause he was like, he don't know how it happened. Then next thing you know, he told me, so he think that it was her at the bar pouring him drinks or whatever. It was somebody at the bar. And I was like, I said, look like they taking y'all, I ain't gonna say advice, but look like they actually taking into consideration what y'all said, that they finna make it seem like we all knew who it was or whatever. But yeah, he did a little flashback, or they did a flashback. They showed Luna or whatever. He was like, I think it was her. I think she may have spiked my drink. And I said, oh, Lord. I said, they actually taking it there. It looked like it, y'all. But yeah. And she didn't care about none of that. She didn't want to hear none of that. She was just focused on the fact that he slept with somebody else before he slept with her, which was wrong, though. He should have just been honest. He shouldn't listen to his mama. He shouldn't listen to his mama. She gave him the wrong advice. He should have came straight to her and let her know before it even was revealed that it was Luna. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Bill was telling Katie how they need to come up with a plan. I don't know how they went from trying to come up with a plan to him over here trying to put the moves on her. I said, now it's not the time. Y'all got a cycle in y'all house, and y'all was just talking about taking her baby. How you know she ain't hear y'all talking about taking her baby and she ain't trying to come off y'all or something? What the world going on? But yeah, he was like, they need to come up with a plan. Sheila told Deacon that her granddaughter's alive. She was on her way to tell him, but Deacon beat her to it. You too little too late. How many months it's been? Well, I don't think it's been that many months this time around. I don't think it's been that long, has it? But she was like, she been knowing for a while. But yeah, Bill said he lost without Katie. Basically, she keeps him on the straight path and everything. They showed Luna she was thinking about Will. She was still talking to her baby, to my son. The whole world would know about them, and basically her whole world is inside of her, whatever. And her and Will gonna be a couple and all this other stuff. And what else? Let's see. Dick told Remy that he told Deacon that Luna's alive, and he thinks that Sheila knows. Sheila tells Deacon that at least save Luna. She was just explaining it, but she was saying it in a way like this man care. He don't told you. I mean, I don't know how many times he got to tell you he don't care nothing about her being your granddaughter. He been trying to spare you little feelings or whatever, but you think that matter? He keep telling you how them was his best friends and she murdered him. You over here talking about something. She's alive and at least saved her because, you know, she felt like she was worthy of another chance because her mama did X, Y, and Z. Well, how did that work out for y'all? How did that work out? I ain't even gonna ask Sheila how it worked out. I ain't even gonna direct it towards her because she cuckoo for cocoa. Well, she crazy too. That's why she don't see no wrong. I said, how you fix your mouth to say that, you know, she ain't this and she ain't that, knowing doggone well she told you everything. Didn't she tell her that she switched the drinks too? So she admitted she took advantage of the boy. And you ain't even the man. And you ain't even acknowledged it. I said, yeah, you crazy too. That's why you finna lose your husband. Allegedly, because we don't know. We don't know yet. But they just saying Deacon and Taylor's supposed to hook up. What else? Let me see. Sheila told Deacon to at least save Luna. Bill tells Katie that he need her. Katie don't think it's the right time to talk about them being back together. Luna came down the steps to my son. She have a question. She was thinking, so will her baby be William Spencer? What she said, William Spencer the 5th or the 10th or whatever? And I was like, wait a minute now. Now I learned that if I'm not mistaken, ain't Liam named after him? Ain't Liam named after him too? So Will named the same thing? So you got what? I don't know Bill's full name, but she said William Spencer. So what he is? Look, they don't confuse me now. It's like, wait a minute now. So both of them running around with the same name? Is that why they call him Liam? I said, so all of them running around with the same name, huh? Look, I wasn't expecting her to say that. But yeah, hold on. What else? Let me see. Where I stopped it? I think Luna crazy to come upstairs. Yeah. Will ends up explaining what he knows about Luna, how she made it, the fact that Lee saved her and everything, and how she was appalled once she found out what what Luna had did. I said, too little, too late. Look, everybody be in jail fooling with me. I said, all of them would be locked up. What the world? Lee would be locked up? I don't know if Sheila would actually be able to be locked up, but Leah had to go. Luna had to go. She'll just have to be pregnant in jail at this point. But yeah, what else? I said, y'all just look, because everybody like, yeah, Katie and Bill was talking about how, you know, they have to keep her there to protect the baby if it is Will, and they had to, basically they're trying to take the baby. They still trying to take the baby or whatever. And I was like, you know how long that's going to be? Oh, that's another thing. Luna was like, pretty soon she'll be showing. I was like, yeah, next week. By the end of next week, you'll be showing. I said, next week, you'll be showing. But yeah, what else? Let's see. I already said how Will was saying how he thinks that Luna spiked the drinks. Will tells Alexa there's more. Deke wonders if Sheila knew. He also tells Remy that they can't have trouble like that in their lives in regards to Luna. Basically, he don't want him to be a part of her life or anything like that. Also, on today's episode, Deacon was talking to Sheila, he was saying something about how Lee had to have help. She couldn't have done it by herself. And I was like, well, who was going to help her? I was like, she wouldn't tell Finn because Finn was going to snitch. Finn was going to snitch or whatever. He was too busy focused on the Leon situation. So I was like, who? I was like, Remy? I was like, does she even know Remy? I don't even know if she know Remy. Well, they are in the same building, though. But I don't know. Either way it go, he kept saying how they need to keep their distance. And they can't have nothing to do with Luna, so we'll see how that plays out. What else? Luna, she's my son. I thought Will would have been back by now or whatever. So my son, she don't think the Electra would be too happy that Will cheated. And they was like, he didn't cheat. You took advantage of him. And she over here acting like she didn't. I mean, the way they showing it, the way they doing these flashbacks, well, not the flashbacks, but the way they talking and everything like that, I was like, yeah, it seemed like they gonna make it so he knew. They making it seem like he knew. But yeah, what else? Electra was hoping that Luna was in jail because she was like, where is she or whatever? And he was like, Bill took her away and stuff like that. So she was like, that'll be the one good thing. And he's like, no, Bill took her to the house. She was like, why would he do that? And that's when he started explaining that a test fell out her pocket and, she's supposed to be carrying his child. And she told him, I think she had already told him not to touch her. Sheila was trying to explain to Deacon that she had nothing to do with Luna's death being fake or anything like that. He was like, she had to have help. And that's why I was like, Remy? I was like, who could have helped her? I just noticed that they ain't been showing Finn too. But yeah, so Katie now was talking to Luna saying that if it's actually Will's baby, she over here talking about some doggone, I'm nothing like my mom. I don't go around sleeping with guys, just random guys and stuff like that. You just took it. What you mean you ain't go? Girl, please. She over here, I said, she really delusional. She really thinks she ain't did nothing wrong. She told my son, I'm nothing like my mother or whatever. I don't just sleep with random men. You poison them. You switch their drinks. You take advantage of them. You watch them and then you go do what you did. What the world? They letting her get away with it. I can't believe this. I said, they letting Luna get away with stuff like they letting Drew get away with stuff on General Hospital. I said, it's about time both of them, hey. But what else? I think the last thing, yeah, she did tell her at the end, said, what they say? Oh, Luna said that they'll be a couple, especially when Electra is out of the way. That's when they went back to Electra and Will. Electra tells Will not to touch her or whatever, but I think that was the last scene. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces, have yours today and be safe.